January 16th, Saint Marcellus I, Pope and Martyr. During the 3rd century, paganism and Christianity vied for supremacy in the Roman Empire. Hoping to stifle the Church completely, the Emperor Diocletian, in the year 303, began the last and fiercest of the persecutions. In the year 304, Saint Pope Marcellinus suffered and died because of these persecutions. After his death, the see of Saint Peter sat vacant for over a year. The Church was in need of a strong leader to settle questions of doctrine and discipline and to take up the mantle of Pope. Such a leader came to the chair of Peter in the year 304 when Saint Marcellus was elected Pope. Saint Marcellus established new catacombs and saw to it that the divine mysteries were continually celebrated there. Then, miraculously, 3 years of relative peace were given the Church when Maxentius became emperor in the year 307, for he was too occupied with other difficulties to persecute the Christians. After assessing the problems facing the Church, Marcellus planned a strong program of reorganization. Rome, then as now, was the seat of Catholicism, and his program was initiated there. He divided the territorial administration of the Church into 25 districts or parishes, placing a priest over each one, thus restoring an earlier formation which the turmoil of the persecutions had disrupted. This arrangement permitted more efficient care in instructing the faithful, in preparing candidates for baptism, and penitents for reconciliation. With these measures in force, Church government took on a definite form. Marcellus's biggest problem was dealing with the Christians who had apostatized during the persecution. Many of these were determined to be reconciled to the Church without performing the necessary penances. Marcellus approached this problem with uncompromising justice. The apostates were in the wrong, and regardless of the consequences were obliged to do penance. Under the leadership of one who had denied Christ even in times of peace, one group of these apostates, called the Papacy, raised so much trouble that fights broke out and blood was shed in the streets. This strife, coming to the attention of Emperor Maxentius, caused him to believe that Pope Marcellus was at the bottom of these issues and sent him into exile. Thus we see one of the first times that the civil authority encroached upon Catholic or religious governance. One account of Saint Marcellus's death that can't be fully validated dates from the 5th century and relates that Maxentius, judging the Pope responsible for the trouble between the Christian factions, condemned him to work as a slave on the public highway. After 9 months of this hard labor, he was rescued by the clergy and taken to the home of a widow named Lucina. This woman welcomed him with every sign of respect and offered him her home for a church. When the emperor learned that the Christian rites were being celebrated there, he profaned the church by turning it into a stable and forced the Holy Father to care for the animals quartered there. In these sad surroundings, Marcellus died on January 16th of the year 310. Whether or not the story is true, he is styled a martyr by the Church because his exile was so harsh that it caused his death. He was buried in the catacombs of Priscilla, but later his remains were placed beneath the altar of the church in Rome, which still bears his name.